Chapter 151. I never give anyone a second chance. Their breakfast could only be given entirely to Quan Quan. Song Yunfei went to the bathroom to contact Bai Yu, saying she had convinced Chu Jinan and asking him to make arrangements on his end. Chu Jinan likely wouldn't let Bai Yu examine him, but the checkup department was different from Bai Yu's anyway, so it wouldn't be his turn. Chu Jinan drove as the two of them arrived at the hospital. Song Yunfei had already registered on the way, they only needed to queue up at the hospital. Since it was Saturday, there were many people getting checkups, so they had to queue for every examination. When choosing the checkup items, Song Yunfei picked the most expensive package for him. Chu Jinan only glanced at it and said nothing. They arrived at 8 a.m., and by the time all the examinations were finished, it was already 12:30 p.m. The checkup results would take a few days to come out, but Bai Yu could see them early in the system, so they should know by the afternoon. Back in the car, Song Yunfei was so tired her back and waist ached. She turned to look at Chu Jinan. She couldn't help but marvel at how good his stamina was. After running around all morning, he acted as if nothing had happened. Even during the brain CT scan, he didn't show any abnormalities, which made Song Yunfei wonder if she had guessed wrong. She shook her head. It was better to wait for the results, as overthinking now was useless. What are we doing next? Chu Jinan drove out of the parking lot. Eating. Once he said that, Song Yunfei did feel quite hungry. Song Yunfei checked her phone and couldn't help but ask, "Is the client you dealt with this time a big one?" Chu Jinan suddenly glanced at her. In what sense? The order. Didn't you suddenly transfer $1 million to me last night? Chu Jinan looked away. Very big. How big? Bigger than you think. Song Yunfei was stunned. Bigger than she thought. Could it be more than 10 million? Yeah. Song Yunfei's eyes lit up. No wonder he was suddenly so generous. It turned out he had secured such a massive order. At the same time, she felt a bit touched. He had transferred money to her as soon as he earned it. It seemed she really had overthought things. With money comes confidence, and it was only natural to be a bit more assertive when confident. The two of them found a random place to eat. After finishing, Chu Jinan dropped her off and went to the factory himself. President He had also been eagerly waiting these past few days, hoping he would bring back a big order. Seeing Chu Jinan return, President He greeted him with a smile. "Xiao Chu, you're finally back. How was the business trip?" Chu Jinan glanced at him and casually tossed the folder in his hand onto the desk. President He hurriedly picked up the folder and took out the documents inside, which were clearly 2 contracts. He flipped through them excitedly, and when he saw the amount, he was so startled he almost couldn't hold the contract steady. "CEO, no, President Chu, this contract isn't fake, is it? Can't you see the seal on it?" President He's lips trembled as he looked at the amount in words again, then counted the digits. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions. Big brother. Yes, it was a 20 million yuan contract, and it was from a fairly large domestic brand. What was most impressive was that Xiao Chu had actually brought back the signed and sealed contract. How on earth did he do it? President He put down the contract and flatteringly supported Chu Jinan. Come, sit. He pulled Chu Jinan to his own seat and took out the tea set to brew tea for him. Chu Jinan didn't stand on ceremony either, sitting calmly in the boss's chair. "President Chu, how did you do it? This is amazing. I remember this clothing company has its own production line, right? Why are they outsourcing to us?" Chu Jinan leaned back. "They're too busy and can't keep up." President He poured him tea. "I see. Even so, being able to snatch the order is impressive. However, we already have many orders on hand. Such a large order, we might not be able to handle it." Sometimes business being too good is also a worry. They had just opened a new workshop not long ago. Were they going to expand the production line again? Either expand the production line or collaborate with others, but you must ensure the quality produced by the partner factories. President He hesitated. Collaboration was actually not bad and quite stable. If he added 2 more workshops and business slowed down later, wouldn't that be a waste of money? What do you think then? President He couldn't make up his mind and turned to ask Chu Jinan. Chu Jinan said, I suggest you lease this entire factory building first. Quote. President He's mouth twitched. Do you know how many floors this factory building has? Only 6 floors. Only. President He found that this kid was starting to get ahead of himself, wanting to lease an entire factory building just like that. No, Siu Chu, President Chu, have you calculated how much it would cost to lease it? Chu Jinan pondered for a moment and did the math in his head. Not much, $1 million should cover it. President He almost had to pinch his philtrum to keep from fainting. Usually, earning $1 million a year was cause for celebration. Yet he wanted him to spend $1 million just to lease the building. And that wasn't even counting equipment, staff wages, utilities, and other miscellaneous expenses. President He finally couldn't take it anymore. You kid, are you trying to fly to the heavens? Chu Jinan ignored his anger and simply asked, are you going to listen to me or not? President He froze. He looked at Chu Jinan indecisively. For some reason, seeing that calm and composed gaze gave him an inexplicable sense of security. Could this be the legendary aura of someone who has everything under control? Looking at the contract on the desk again, President He was torn. Let me consider it. This is not a small sum. Once the investment failed, it wouldn't be as simple as just going bankrupt. Chu Jinan said, take your time to consider, but there's only one chance. I never give anyone a second chance. President He's eyelid twitched uncontrollably. This kid had definitely let it go to his head. He actually dared to speak to him in such a tone. President He coughed twice, trying to get him to calm down. I say, Siu Chu, can you give me some inside info? Are there more orders coming? Leasing the whole building, equipment, labor, management, cash flow, it's all a significant expense. If things don't go smoothly after this order, have you thought about the consequences? You're not the boss, don't talk as if it's easy when it's not your neck on the line. President He, in the business world, risks and opportunities always coexist. You want 100% guarantee. Chu Jinan stood up, not intending to continue the idle chat. Going home and sleeping with your bankbook is the safest. Leaving those words behind, he left the office without looking back. Leaving President He scratching his head in the room, several more of his already thinning hairs fell out. If this failed, he would have to jump off a building. But looking at the contract on the desk, he felt that this kid really was capable. At this moment, President He was more conflicted than when he had gotten divorced. Chapter 152, That's Truly Terrifying. Shortly after 4 in the afternoon, Song Yunfei rode her electric scooter to the hospital. She found Bai Yu, pulled him to the end of the corridor, looked around cautiously, and then asked, so, are the results out? Bai Yu kept his hands in the pockets of his white coat and chuckled. I haven't even looked yet. What's the rush? Didn't you say we could see the results this afternoon? Hurry up and check. Aren't you afraid of stepping on a sewing machine? Bai Yu's smile didn't fade. Learning a new skill is a good thing. What is there to be afraid of? When the time comes, I'll pull some strings to have you stationed right next to me. That way, you won't be lonely. Listening to him, the veins on Song Yunfei's forehead throbbed. She bit her lip hard to restrain the urge to hit him. Can you be a bit more serious? I'm considering our future. Is that not serious enough? Song Yunfei gritted her teeth. If you keep talking nonsense, I'm going to block you. Bai Yu sighed, his tone sounding a bit hurt. Sigh, you only know how to threaten me. In the end, Bai Yu pulled up Chu Jinan's medical report anyway. The two of them leaned in close to the computer screen to examine it. Song Yunfei couldn't understand it, the technical jargon looked like gibberish to her. She recognized every individual character, but together, they left her completely in the dark. How is it? Song Yunfei asked. Bai Yu frowned, repeatedly looking over the brain scans and test data. It doesn't look like his memory has returned, he murmured. These are the blood clots left over from his previous injury. They're pressing against the relevant nerves and are the main culprits behind his amnesia. There's still quite a bit that hasn't been absorbed. Without complete clearance, even if he regained some memories, he shouldn't be able to remember everything. Song Yun-fei pondered. He did say before that he remembered a little bit. That's it then, Bai Yu concluded based on his experience. It's possible he really did remember a portion, which activated some old habits and caused a change in his personality. Hearing this conclusion, Song Yun-fei didn't know whether to feel disappointed or relieved. If his memory had returned, judging by their interactions over the past 2 days, she might not have to worry about stepping on a sewing machine after all. But Bai Yu's words shattered any lingering hope she had. Bai Yu said, but looking at his recovery, it probably won't be long now. Song Yun-fei snapped back to reality. He's close to fully recovering his memory. Bai Yu nodded. Correct. It won't be more than 2 months. If it's fast, it might not even take a month. He looked at Song Yun-fei. So, you don't need to worry about him not making it to the shareholders' meeting. You should worry about yourself first. Song Yun-fei fell into deep thought. It seemed the plot had indeed changed. She didn't need to worry about Chu Jinan anymore. Now she had to consider her own escape route. She had over $1 million in hand now, which was enough for her to make a run for it. It seemed she would have to work hard from now on. Unless absolutely necessary, she still wanted to leave on her own terms. All right, I understand. Thank you. When do you plan on eloping with me? Song Yun-fei's lips twitched. He was being frivolous again. She brushed him off. We'll see. I'll let you know in advance. Bai Yu raised an eyebrow and looked at her thoughtfully. After leaving the hospital, Song Yun-fei rode her scooter home. Unexpectedly, she ran into Chu Jinan at the elevator. You're back so early, she asked in surprise. Chu Jinan nodded. Noticing the package in his hand, she asked, did you buy something? Chu Jinan handed the package to her. It's for you. What is it? As they spoke, the elevator arrived. Chu Jinan said, check it once we're back. The two of them took the elevator home, and Song Yun-fei couldn't wait to tear open the package. Inside were clothes, vacuum sealed. The package looked small, but there were quite a few items. There were tops and pants, all coordinated into 3 complete outfits. After taking out a pink jacket, it quickly expanded into a down coat. It looked thin, but it felt very soft and light, and seemed quite warm. She looked at Chu Jinan beside her in surprise. Did you buy these? They were a gift. Song Yun-fei rummaged through them. There was no packaging, no brand, nothing. She realized what was going on. Are these from that new client you mentioned? Why is there no brand? Chu Jinan pondered for a moment before saying casually, they haven't come up with a name yet. So that's how it is. She took off her jacket and put on the new one. It fit perfectly. This jacket was much thinner than the one she had been wearing, but it felt warmer. The effect was almost instantaneous. Song Yun-fei ran to the mirror by the door to check herself out. This client's aesthetic is much better than the other clients at your factory, she praised. Both the cut and the design of this garment were much nicer than the bag of clothes Chu Jinan had brought back before. Wearing it, she felt like she looked much slimmer. Chu Jinan just watched the bright figure and didn't reply. On Monday, Song Yun-fei went to the sales office and submitted her resignation. It was the end of the year, and most of the new employees had left. Even Xiao Shuang had resigned. Manager Zhang Tao tried hard to persuade her to stay, but Song Yun-fei's mind was made up. Manager Zhang Tao could only let her go with regret. He had no choice but to let her go. Song Yun-fei had no sales this month, and with only the 1,500 yuan base salary, she wouldn't have cared if she lost it. After resigning, Song Yun-fei felt a weight lift off her shoulders. Now that she had money, she could focus on studying for her exams. Chu Jinan's medical report was also ready. Song Yun-fei pretended to accompany him to pick it up. She hadn't expected that after getting the report, they would still have to wait in line to see a doctor. She and Chu Jinan waited for over 4 hours. They didn't even dare go to the bathroom. Finally, it was their turn. Song Yunfei went in first. There was nothing wrong with her physical examination report, except for being a little blood deficient. Everything else was fine. There were no major issues with Chu Jinan's physical health either, but there was an abnormality in his brain scan report. The general practitioner told him to see a specialist. Chu Jinan's expression was a bit sour. After waiting in line for so long, he still had to go to a specialist. Song Yunfei comforted him. It's fine. Come on, I'll go with you. The specialist shouldn't have such a long wait. She pulled Chu Jinan to register for a specialist appointment. After all, they were already here. Wouldn't the money be wasted if they didn't go? There weren't many people at the specialist department at the moment, but there were still about 7 or 8 people in line. You wait in line first. I'm going to the bathroom. Chu Jinan gave a brief response and looked down at the numbered slip in his hand. His gaze fell on the name of the attending physician. It wasn't long before it was his turn. After entering, he indeed saw Bai Yu sitting inside. Bai Yu couldn't help but laugh when he saw him. Where does it hurt? Chu Jinan remained silent and tossed the medical report onto the desk for him to see for himself. Bai Yu wasn't angry either. He picked up the report and examined it carefully. You're quite healthy, young man. It's just that there's something wrong with your head. Chu Jinan looked at him with an inscrutable expression. Then, what does drive Bai suggest? Bai Yu smiled. As for a suggestion, why don't you tell me how much you remember first? That way, I can prescribe the right treatment. Aren't you a doctor? Can't you tell how much I've remembered? Bai Yu's eyelid twitched slightly, and he instinctively looked at Chu Jinan. He seemed to see a hint of provocation and killing intent in Chu Jinan's eyes. Bai Yu laughed. You were joking. I'm a doctor, not a mind reader. How much you remember depends on your own subjective consciousness. I can't exactly pry open your head to extract your memories, can I? Then it seems drive Bai's medical skills are quite mediocre. Chu Jinan leaned back in his chair and spoke leisurely. However, I can tell you, Dr. Bai, that I've remembered that I'm a very vengeful person. If someone does something detrimental to me, I will pay them back twofold. The smile on Bai Yu's lips stiffened for a moment before he quickly regained his composure. Is that so? That's truly terrifying. Sui Hua, don't you agree? Bai Yu's gaze moved past Chu Jinan toward the door. Chu Jinan stiffened and instinctively looked toward the door. Chapter 153, Sending him some local specialties. Song Yunfei stood at the door with a look of confusion, as she had only just arrived. What? Bai Yu said, didn't you hear? This patient just said he's very vengeful and will double his revenge on anyone who has done bad things to him. There was a smile in Bai Yu's eyes. The darker Chu Jinan's face became, the more brilliantly he smiled. Song Yunfei subconsciously glanced at Chu Jinan and was also startled by his expression. Please continue, patient. Bai Yu looked at Chu Jinan meaningfully. He really wanted to see what Chu Jinan would say. If he tried to explain, it would be 100% certain that he had recovered his memory. But Chu Jinan said nothing. He only looked at Bai Yu with an even more intense murderous intent than before. Bai Yu looked innocent and continued to undermine him. Why are you looking at me like that? Didn't you say it yourself? Chu Jinan suddenly stood up, turned, and walked out of the ward, pulling the dazed Song Yunfei along with him. Song Yunfei followed him nervously. He was walking so fast that she had to jog just to barely keep up. Standing on the escalator, Song Yunfei stole a glance at him. She hadn't heard everything just now, but she had caught a bit about returning favors or something similar. She asked tentatively, is what Bai Yu said true? Chu Jinan turned his head to look at her. After a moment of silence, he spoke, I said I'd send him some local specialties. He's talking nonsense. Song Yunfei scratched her chin suspiciously. It did sound a bit similar. Could she really have misheard? Then what local specialties are you going to send him? Chu Jinan looked coldly toward the direction of the consultation room and spoke slowly, "Send him a custom-made stethoscope." Song Yunfei was stunned for a moment. Huh? What does that have to do with local specialties? I hope he'll be able to understand human speech soon. Quote. These two seemed to be at each other's throats every time they met, with tongues sharper than the other. Song Yunfei didn't want to book an appointment with Bai Yu either, but he was the only one on duty in his department at the moment. Of course, besides that, she really did want Bai Yu to test exactly what things Chu Jinan remembered. It seemed like a failure now. The two walked to the parking lot, and Song Yunfei got into the car, preoccupied with her thoughts. Just as Chu Jinan opened the car door, his phone suddenly rang. He glanced at the caller ID and saw that the car door was closed. He even walked a few steps away. Song Yunfei looked at his back suspiciously, but she had no intention of going down to eavesdrop. The call was from Wei Ke. Chu Jinan answered and said in a deep voice, "You'd better have something important." Wei Ke said sheepishly, "President Chu, there really is something important. Madam is looking for you everywhere. How is your investigation going? When are you coming back?" He had only gone back for a few days, and now that he had been gone for 7 or 8 days without contact, people thought he had gone missing again. "What does she want with me? She probably misses you. Last time you went back, you only stayed with them for 2 days, and now you've disappeared again. Madam is worried about you. Why don't you give her a call? Otherwise, she might start investigating you." Previously, he couldn't be found because all the clues had been erased. Now, finding his location would be very simple. Chu Jinan pondered for a moment before saying, "Understood. Wei Ke, you should come back early and get prepared. You were missing for over half a year. There are many things that need to be resolved." After he finished speaking, he didn't wait for Chu Jinan's reply before the call was disconnected. Song Yunfei watched him take a call and then make another one. The second call lasted for over 10 minutes before he finally returned to the car. It was almost evening now. Chu Jinan drove to the supermarket and bought ingredients for dinner. Seeing his preoccupied look, Song Yunfei didn't want to ask too many questions. She had a premonition that Chu Jinan might be going on a business trip again. Although she didn't know where the premonition came from, she just had that feeling. Also, regarding what Bai Yu said in the afternoon, she didn't think she had misheard. Chu Jinan's expression at the time couldn't lie. During dinner, Song Yunfei saw that he was distracted. He had piled the food in her bowl into a small mountain, and the last chicken wing couldn't fit and slid onto the table. Song Yunfei couldn't help but speak up, "Is something on your mind?" Chu Jinan snapped out of it, looked at her, and then at the chicken wing that had fallen on the table. "There's some business at the factory." "Oh, about the new client?" "Yeah." Song Yunfei didn't know if he was telling the truth, so she didn't ask further. The next morning, Song Yunfei had already turned off her alarm when she was woken up from under the covers by Chu Jinan. She rubbed her eyes and looked at the man sleepily. "What is it? Get up and eat. Aren't you going to work today?" Song Yunfei paused. It seemed she hadn't told him about her resignation yet. She propped herself up in bed and spoke with a bit of a guilty conscience. I resigned." Chu Jinan frowned slightly. "Why did you suddenly resign?" Song Yunfei smiled. "No sales, high pressure, no money, and it's almost the new year, so I resigned. I'll find a new job after the new year." Chu Jinan stared at her for a long while, as if trying to see through her, making Song Yunfei's scalp tingle. Could there be any loopholes in those words? There shouldn't be any problem. She braced herself and said, "What's wrong? You said before that you didn't want me to work. Now that I've resigned, are you unhappy?" Chu Jinan shook his head slightly. "No." "Then get some good rest. Get up and eat first." "Okay." Song Yunfei secretly breathed a sigh of relief and quickly got dressed and out of bed. After breakfast, Chu Jinan went to the factory. Today, there was an extra person in the office. It wasn't anyone else but manager He's ex-wife. Manager He had considered it for a few days and was truly out of options, so he went to find his ex-wife with a humble attitude. Although the two had been fighting over clients, from beginning to end, it was just out of spite, wanting to prove they were right. Now, Manager He bowed his head and admitted his mistake. Because he realized that when it came to major decisions, he really wasn't as good as his ex-wife. After Wang Xinjun finished reading the contract he brought, she immediately told him to agree to Chu Jinan's proposal. For such a large company to let him bring back a stamped contract was enough to prove Chu Jinan's ability and the other company's trust. With that, was he still worried about not having other orders in the future? Wang Xinjun almost slammed the contract onto Manager He's forehead. Manager He was suddenly enlightened and almost knelt on the spot to beg for a reconciliation, but he was deterred by his ex-wife's look of disdain. So in the end, the two reached a cooperation agreement. Taking over the entire factory building was a bit strenuous for Manager He alone, but if the two cooperated, it would be much easier. Wang Xinjun was much shrewder than Manager He. Back at the exhibition, she had felt that Chu Jinan was extraordinary. Now that there was such an opportunity to make money, she naturally wouldn't refuse Manager He, even though he was the ex-husband she disliked. The three of them held a meeting in the office to discuss the next steps. Whether it was cooperation or a merger, there had to be a set of rules, and renting the entire factory building was also quite a hassle, as there were many other factories in the building. Chapter 154, Will you wait for me to come back? Song Yunfei opened her computer. For the time being, she didn't plan on taking any more online orders, her mind was set only on studying. But Bai Yu's words at the hospital kept echoing in her head. This sense of urgency made it impossible for her to focus on her studies, and she felt like time was running out. She pondered for a long time before calling Bai Yu. Ignoring his initial teasing, Song Yunfei got straight to the point. Let me ask you, how did you track down my address last time? Bai Yu chuckled. Why are you asking that? Song Yunfei made up a serious-sounding excuse. Isn't Chu Jinan going on another business trip? I want to see where he's going. Is that so? Bai Yu mused for a moment. Just tell me his phone number and I'll check for you. You won't be able to do it yourself. Song Yunfei suddenly understood. She finally knew how this guy had found her last time. Having gotten the answer she wanted, Song Yunfei laughed it off. I'm not giving it to you. You'll just use it for something bad again. Bai Yu sighed. Is that really the kind of person I am to you? That's so hurtful. Oh, knock it off. You should worry about yourself first. He said he's going to pay you back double. Bai Yu said, what are you so happy about? You are the main culprit. Song Yunfei bit her lip, a chill running through her heart. It seemed she hadn't misheard after all. He wasn't talking about local specialties at all. Bai Yu clicked his tongue, as if realizing something. Yankawa, you are acting strange. Are you up to no good again? No, I'm not. I'm hanging up now. Song Yunfei decisively hung up the phone. If she kept talking, she would definitely give herself away. Fortunately, Bai Yu hadn't spent much time with her, otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to hide her little schemes. Just like with Chu Jinan, after being with him for so long, she always felt like she was full of flaws and felt guilty whenever she lied. But she had obtained the most important piece of information. It seemed she needed to get a new phone number, though she didn't know if this world had mandatory real name registration. If it did, she would have no choice but to run away with cash. Oh, and Xiu Jian still owed her $1 million. She had to get that back when the time came. Night. Chu Jinan came home from work. He hadn't bought any groceries today because Song Yunfei had told him in advance that she would cook dinner. Dinner was already set on the table as Song Yunfei brought out the final dish. You're right on time. Go wash your hands and let's eat. Chu Jinan took off his coat and went to the bathroom to wash his hands. After sitting down, he picked up his chopsticks only to set them down again. He looked up at Song Yunfei. I'm going on a business trip in a few days. Song Yunfei's hand paused. For how many days? Half a month, if things go quickly. And if they don't? I don't know. Song Yun-fei's mood became complicated. If he was really away for that long, wouldn't he miss the shareholders' meeting? She also put down her chopsticks and looked at Chu Jinan seriously. Chu Jinan, exactly how much have you remembered? Can you tell me the truth? The ill-timed question made the atmosphere at the table turn somber, as if even the colors of the dishes had faded. Chu Jinan also looked at his rice bowl and remained silent for a long time. Finally, he uttered two words, not much. Song Yun-fei twitched her lips. How was that any different from saying nothing? She spoke solemnly again, I wasn't joking with you before. You still have very important things to do. Can you please believe me? Chu Jinan looked up, his gaze burning as he watched her. His lips moved, but he hesitated several times. At last, he managed a few words, I have some impressions. What? Of what you said. Song Yun-fei blinked. Every time he said something so ambiguous, she had to ponder it for a long time to understand. She asked uncertainly, you mean, you have impressions of your identity? Yes. What about the rest? Chu Jinan asked her back, for example. For example, do you remember how you lost your memory? Chu Jinan shifted his gaze from her face to somewhere else. He waited 2 seconds before speaking. Didn't you say I was beaten up? Song Yun-fei breathed a heavy sigh of relief, a look of liberation appearing on her face as she continued to probe. Oh, well, since you have some impressions, don't you plan on going back? Chu Jinan ended the conversation. Let's eat, it'll get cold soon. Having finally started the topic, Song Yun-fei wasn't about to give up before finishing the most important part. The important thing I mentioned is another matter that concerns your future. You must go back before the 15th of next month. Although Bai Yu said he might remember everything in less than a month, Song Yun-fei was still uneasy and felt the need to remind him. Chu Jinan suddenly looked at her. Since you're so worried, why don't you come with me? He successfully silenced Song Yun-fei. Song Yun-fei laughed awkwardly. Eat, we'll talk after dinner. Now it was Chu Jinan's turn to press her. Will you wait for me to come back? I will, I definitely will. Song Yun-fei picked up a chicken wing that had fallen on the table and put it in his bowl. Hurry up and eat. Chu Jinan stared at her for a long time until Song Yun-fei's head was almost buried in her bowl. He withdrew his gaze and looked at the chicken wing in his bowl, ultimately choosing not to say anything more. Many things couldn't be settled with just words. What made someone sadder than receiving no promise was receiving one that wasn't kept. Until things were resolved, saying more was useless. He had to go to the shareholders' meeting and he had to get the shares. Only then could he take control of his own life. And only then could he truly decide whether she stayed or left. Chu Jinan's business trip was on Thursday, which was also the 15th day since his return. This time, Song Yun-fei went to see him off. Whether it was due to the trauma of the previous plane crash or something else, he actually chose to take the high-speed rail. Song Yun-fei dropped him off at the high-speed rail station. Outside, a light rain was drizzling, and the station interior was damp. Alright, you should head in now. Song Yun-fei smiled and waved at him. Chu Jinan looked down at her. She was smiling too brightly, without any of the sadness of parting. Chu Jinan reached out, pulled her into his arms, and whispered in her ear, wait for me to come back. MHM. Remember what I said, make sure to contact that vacay before the 15th. Chu Jinan seemed not to hear her, continuing to speak for himself. If you lie to me, you're dead. Song Yun-fei's body stiffened, and her smile took on a hint of fear. She patted Chu Jinan's back. How could I lie to you? Just go already. Chu Jinan released her, gave her a light kiss on the lips, and then pulled his empty suitcase through the ticket gate. Song Yun-fei watched him disappear into the crowd and patted her chest, threatening her even as he was leaving, if I don't run away now, I'm a dog. Song Yun-fei turned and ran out of the station, driving home. She had originally wanted to wait a few more days, but now her mind was filled only with thoughts of running away. So she had to hurry home and pack her bags. As soon as she stepped out, a certain someone followed her, watching her get into the car and drive away. Chu Jinan stared intently at the car, took out his phone, and dialed a number. Keep an eye on Song Yunfei. Report her whereabouts to me every day. Wu Wei, who received the call, was stunned. He didn't know what kind of game this couple was playing now, but he didn't dare to be vague. Don't worry, Brother Chu. I'll watch her like a hawk. Chapter 155. You're so overbearing, Sui Hua. Song Yunfei was driving, her mind filled with his words. Just wait until I get back, you're dead meat. So, when he returned and found out she had lied to him, she would be finished. As expected, things like love were all fake. What a fickle man. She quickly gave Bai Yu a call. Although he was quite annoying, he had helped her after all, so she should warn him. Sui Hua. Shut up. Quote. Bai Yu was shocked, stunned, and in disbelief. You're so overbearing, Sui Hua. Is this a new skill you learned from Chu Jinan? Song Yunfei took a deep breath, suppressing the urge to hang up. I'm telling you, stop joking around. Do you realize you're in big trouble? Bai Yu remained nonchalant. Oh, what kind of big trouble? I was testing him earlier, and I feel like his memory has mostly returned. He even threatened me just now, so you'd better start preparing yourself. Bai Yu chuckled. So, are you ready to wander the world with me? Quote. You prepare first. Song Yunfei didn't give a definitive answer. What if she failed to escape? After hanging up, Song Yunfei stepped on the gas, rushing back as fast as she could. Passing by a service center, she went in to get a new SIM card and bought a new phone. Then she went to the bank to withdraw 100,000 yuan in cash and sent 20,000 to Song Dushan and the others. After returning home, she took out her phone and began choosing a place to go. There wasn't enough time left for her to get into an overseas university, so she had to find a remote place to settle down first. But it couldn't be too remote, that wouldn't be safe. She already had a few potential locations in mind, now she was just torn over which one to choose. After looking for a while, Song Yunfei chose a tourist spot that wasn't particularly remote, an ancient town that wasn't very famous but was far away. Finally, she turned her gaze toward Quan Quan, who was lying at her feet. Unsure if Chu Jinan would continue to raise it, she had to find a good home for Quan Quan just in case. A good person who would let her take the dog back once she had settled down later. As soon as the thought occurred to her, a suitable candidate came to mind. She took out her phone and sent a message to Xiu Jian. Half an hour later, Song Yunfei arrived at Xiu Jian's home with Quan Quan. Xiu Jian was that a nightgown? Song Yunfei wasn't sure, it looked like a bedsheet, yet also like a nightgown. Her hair was a mess, and she looked like she had just woken up. Miss Xiu, did you just wake up? Xiu Jian yawned and asked impatiently, what do you want with me? Can I come in and talk? Xiu Jian looked at Song Yunfei, then at the puppy at her feet, her face full of suspicion. But she let her in anyway. After sitting down, Song Yunfei smiled. I thought you had already gone back. I didn't expect you to still be here. Xiu Jian propped up her head lazily and sighed. I was supposed to go back, but every day by the time I wake up, it's already afternoon, so I've just been dragging it out. Every day she said she'd go back tomorrow, but tomorrow followed tomorrow, and she had already delayed it for half a month. Don't you have to film? Xiu Jian, it's so cold, what's there to film? Song Yunfei twitched her lips, it was another day of envying someone else. What do you actually want from me? Seeing that the time was right, Song Yunfei immediately got to the point. Didn't you tell me to leave Chu Jinan last time? Is it time now? Xiu Jian froze, her expression becoming awkward. She rubbed her forehead tactically, her tone sounding a bit guilty. That, you still remember that? Seeing her reaction, Song Yunfei wondered if she was planning to go back on her word. I've always remembered. I was waiting for your notification, but it's been so long and you never contacted me, so I had to come find you. Xiao Jian looked at her in total confusion. Why would you want to leave? Don't you like him anymore? Don't you want to marry into a wealthy family? Song Yanfei shook her head. Like you said, we're not from the same world. Why should I go looking for trouble? Xiao Jian was even more puzzled. Then why did you bring him here to hide? I was afraid of going to jail. I just made a mistake in a moment of confusion. For a moment, Xiao Jian couldn't even argue back. Logically, she should call the police now or persuade Song Yanfei to turn herself in. But the one she hit was Chu Jinan. Xiao Jian didn't like that pretentious guy, and she even felt a bit of schadenfreude. Plus, having previously threatened Song Yanfei to leave without knowing the full situation, she felt somewhat in the wrong. So, Xiao Jian didn't want to meddle further. Xiao Jian stroked her chin. So you want to leave now? Song Yanfei nodded repeatedly, looking at her expectantly, imagining the next second when the eldest Miss Xiao would wave her hand and slap $1,000,000 onto her face. Xiao Jian, then go ahead. Song Yanfei reminded her, haven't you forgotten something? Xiao Jian played dumb. Forgotten what? You said you'd give me $1,000,000. Xiao Jian stood up abruptly and glared at her indignantly. You greedy woman, you're still thinking about that $1,000,000. Song Yanfei sighed. So Miss Xiao never intended to give it to me from the start. No, what I said was to wait for my notification. I haven't notified you yet. You are the one who wants to leave on your own, so why should I give you money? That seemed to make sense. Song Yanfei bit her lip and fell silent. Seeing this, Xiao Jian felt a bit guilty. After all, she was the one who had brought it up first. Her aura weakened, but she remained stubborn. Acting pitiful won't help. I don't have any money for you. Song Yanfei sighed again and secretly pinched her own leg. Her eyes immediately turned red. Maybe this is just fate. Xiao Jian was suspicious. What do you mean? Song Yanfei raised her sleeve and wiped away non-existent tears from the corners of her eyes. I'll tell you the truth. I don't want the money for myself. Then who is it for? I have a very good friend who has a terminal illness and needs $1,000,000 for treatment. Xiao Jian was shocked. What? Song Yanfei looked out the window despondently and lamented, maybe this is just fate. Xiao Jian sat down beside her. Tell me more. What happened? What's your friend's name? Is it a man or a woman? There's nothing to say. If it can't be treated, then so be it. Song Yanfei stood up. I'm sorry for bothering you, Miss Xiao. Just as she was about to leave, Xiao Jian pulled her back. Wait, you want the money to treat your friend? Song Yanfei nodded sincerely. Xiao Jian couldn't help but look at her with admiration. I didn't expect you to be so loyal and righteous. I really admire people like you. She slapped Song Yanfei on the shoulder. It's just $1,000,000. I'll give it to you. Song Yanfei struggled to maintain her composure. Didn't you say you didn't have money for me? Xiao Jian gave a sheepish laugh. I had some issues with you before, but that's all in the past. It's just $1,000,000. Give me your account number, and I'll transfer it to you now. Seeing her talk about $1,000,000 as if it were 100 yuan, the sadness on Song Yanfei's face was no longer an act. She was truly upset. Why were there so many rich people in the world, and she couldn't be one of them? Chapter 156. Do you believe in transmigration? Song Yanfei, with a long face, sent her card number to Xiao Jian. Xiao Jian picked up her phone, copied the card number, opened her online banking app, and efficiently entered the amount. Song Yanfei accidentally caught a glimpse of her balance. It started with a 3, but she didn't have time to count how many digits followed. After Xiao Jian finished the transfer, the balance still started with a 3. Her heart ached even more. Her heartbroken appearance, combined with her previous explanation, made her even more credible in Xiao Jian's eyes. Xiao Jian comforted her. All right, I've transferred it to you. Don't be too sad, just do your best. Song Yanfei took several deep breaths before her emotions finally calmed down a bit. Thank you, Miss Xiao. Xiao Jian waved her hand dismissively. What's there to thank? I already agreed to give it to you anyway. Song Yunfei nodded gratefully and then picked up Quan Quan. Then please do me one more favor, Miss Xiao. Xiao Jian's lips twitched. She had obviously guessed what the other was up to. Quote. I think you are being a bit much, woman. Song Yunfei blinked her eyes. I have to go take care of my friend, and it's inconvenient to bring him along. Please look after him for a while, I'm begging you. Xiao Jian looked at Quan Quan. She had looked after the little fellow for a few days before and quite liked him. He was smart, didn't pee everywhere, and didn't bark randomly. Seeing the little fellow looking at her expectantly, Xiao Jian couldn't resist the temptation and reached out to rub his head. She took Quan Quan into her arms. Fine, I'll look after him for a few days. Remember to come and pick him up later. Song Yunfei praised her sincerely. Thank you so much, Miss Xiao. You are truly beautiful and kind-hearted. You really are my favorite star. Xiao Jian's eyelids twitched when she heard the words, beautiful and kind-hearted. Such a familiar line. Miss Xiao, I'll be going now. Goodbye. Song Yunfei didn't dare stay any longer and ran off after saying that. Running back to the entrance of the residential area, she suddenly saw a familiar tricycle by the roadside. Wu Wei and another man were sitting in the front, his leg was still in a cast, and he was holding a crutch in his arms. When Song Yunfei looked over, he didn't shy away at all, staring back at her and even flashing a smile. Song Yunfei wondered if he had something else planned. She walked quickly toward Wu Wei. Are you here to find Chu Jinan? Wu Wei was shivering from the cold, but he still had a smile on his face. No, Sister Song, I'm here to keep an eye on you. Song Yunfei thought she had misheard and looked at Wu Wei with uncertainty. What? Wu Wei said, I'm watching you. President Chu ordered it. Song Yunfei's heart skipped a beat. He actually sent someone to watch her. Was he afraid she would flee to avoid punishment? What on earth was that guy planning? Had he remembered everything but didn't have time to settle the score yet, so he had someone watch her? At that thought, Song Yunfei's heart turned cold, and a chill rushed from the soles of her feet straight to her head. Song Yunfei forced a smile. Why watch me? I don't know. Anyway, those were his orders. Is that so? We just had a little argument. Is this really necessary? Wu Wei, oh, so you two had a fight. It's so cold. I'm going back in. You should head back too. Your lips are turning purple from the cold. Okay, Sister Song, Wu Wei agreed verbally, but he didn't actually move. Song Yunfei didn't want to talk to him anymore and turned to leave, but then she remembered something and looked back. By the way, do you have any news about Liu Moke? Wu Wei grinned. Him, isn't he already in jail? That manager Feng sued him. Speaking of this, Wu Wei couldn't help but give a thumbs up. President Chu was truly impressive. He made those two turn on each other directly. This wasn't a secret anymore. It was said that Liu Moke didn't take it seriously at first, expecting Feng Tianhao to bail him out. Instead, Feng Tianhao sued him. In a fit of rage, Liu Moke turned around and reported Feng Tianhao. Anyway, the conflict between those two was causing quite a stir, though only people in their circle knew about it. Song Yunfei certainly wouldn't have known. Song Yunfei gave an oh. She had been worried that Liu Moke would come looking for trouble, but now it seemed she didn't have to worry anymore. After chatting with Wu Wei for a bit, she turned and entered the residential area. The friend next to Wu Wei couldn't help but say, are you stupid? You were told to watch her, so why did you tell her? I think you're the real idiot. Do you even know what strategy is? Now that she knows someone is watching her, she definitely won't dare do anything to betray President Chu. If those two make up later, who knows if someone will come to settle accounts with me. More importantly, we don't have to stay out here in this freezing weather anymore. The friend beside him suddenly understood. Impressive. Wu Wei's move was indeed clever. Song Yunfei was now feeling uneasy, and her plan to run away tonight was cancelled. She had to come up with a foolproof plan. Wei Ke had picked up Chu Jinan from the airport and was currently on his way back. Glancing at the man's furrowed brow in the rearview mirror, Wei Ke couldn't help but ask, "President Chu, has the matter over there been resolved?" Chu Jinan looked up at him. "Find 2 people to go to Kangcheng." "Go to Kangcheng? For what?" "To watch her." "All right." Chu Jinan had been feeling restless all the way, feeling that Wu Wei wasn't very reliable. After giving Wei Ke his instructions, Chu Jinan picked up the documents in his hand and began flipping through them again. After reading for a few minutes, he suddenly called out, "Wei Ke." "What is it, President Chu?" Chu Jinan's lips moved, but he didn't make a sound for a long while. Wei Ke glanced at the rearview mirror again and saw the man hesitating as if he had something difficult to say. "President Chu." Chu Jinan continued to remain silent. After more than 10 seconds, he suddenly blurted out, "Do you believe in transmigration?" Wei Ke's hand, which was flipping through the files, trembled. He had expected a tricky question, but he hadn't anticipated something so metaphysical. It was completely outside his scope of knowledge. I think, maybe, it seems. Wei Ke frantically peeked at the rearview mirror, trying to find the answer on President Chu's face. Whether it existed or not wasn't important, what mattered was what the boss wanted to hear. Unfortunately, he failed to read the answer. President Chu's expression was also conflicted and dazed. Clearly, he wasn't looking for a simple yes or no, he was truly seeking an answer. This really stumped Wei Ke. "President Chu, please allow me to go back and look into it. Why would a person's personality undergo such an earth-shattering change?" Quote. "President Chu, I am taking a call." Wei Ke pulled out his phone and put it to his ear. "Hey, it's me, go ahead." The driver pursed his lips tightly, his face pulled long as he thought through all the sad things in his life to keep from laughing. Chu Jinan didn't press further. He took out his phone and opened the photos in his album. Among many unflattering photos, he clicked on one of them. It was a comparison of 2 photos. One was of Song Yunfei, and the other was also of Song Yunfei. They clearly had the same face, but the look in their eyes and their expressions were completely different. One had a dull, drifting gaze, with a superficial smile that hid cowardice beneath arrogance. The other had bright and vivid eyes, lacking any forced restraint, appearing bold and radiant. Chapter 157. This. Can I say it? Chu Jinan put down his phone and pinched the bridge of his nose. Wei Ke, catching a glimpse of him in the rearview mirror from the front, continued to ramble to himself, "I basically know the situation now. There are 2 points you need to pay attention to. First, your situation is a bit complicated. It's complicated because this matter of yours, it's not simple. Stop acting." Wei Ke sheepishly put away his phone. Fortunately, Chu Jinan didn't press him further, and he secretly breathed a sigh of relief. After returning to the Chu residence, Mrs. Chu immediately came forward to greet him, fussing over him with concern. "You child, you just got back and then disappeared for 2 days. You didn't even answer your phone. I thought you had gone missing again. What were you doing?" Looking at his mother's worried expression, he remained silent for a moment before casually uttering a few words, "Going to take care of some business." Mrs. Chu probed further, "What business? Did it require turning off your phone and being nowhere to be found?" Chu Jinan looked toward Wei Ke. Wei Ke's expression stiffened. He awkwardly shuffled over and cleared his throat. He whispered, "Mom, it's about the shareholders' meeting." Mrs. Chu frowned. "What's there to be so busy about? Hasn't everything already been settled?" Wei Ke replied, "Isn't it because the second young master also intends to compete for a position? Then there's even less need to trouble himself. Was it necessary to disappear?" Previously, they all thought Chu Jinan was dead, which was why they had Chu Shui step up. Chu Minggu, the father of the two, currently only held 40%. Although he was still the major shareholder, he did not have the final say. In the early stages of the company's founding, the Chu family held 61% of the shares. However, As the company grew larger, the shares had been significantly diluted. Now that Chu Jinan was back, plus his own 5%, things were more or less stable. There was no need for Chu Shuye to get involved. Chu Jinan said, "Mom, I'm a bit tired. I'm going back to my room to rest." Mrs. Chu wanted to say something more, but Chu Jinan didn't give her the chance and walked straight upstairs. Consequently, Mrs. Chu turned her gaze toward Wei Kei. Mom, I also have things to do. I'll be going now." "Stop right there." Wei Kei's face was full of bitterness. He took 2 seconds to compose his expression, turned around, and said solemnly, "Does Mom have any other instructions?" Mrs. Chu scrutinized him with a searching look. "What on earth are you two up to?" Wei Kei hesitated. Can I say it?" Mrs. Chu said with a stern face, "What is there that you can't tell me?" Wei Kei pondered for a moment. With an expression as if he were risking everything, he whispered, "President Chu might have gone through a breakup and went out for a few days to clear his head." "A breakup? It's like this, Miss Shen and the second young master." Wei Kei leaned closer to her ear and lowered his voice as much as possible, giving her a general account of what happened between Shen Yunan and Chu Shuye. Mrs. Chu's eyes grew wider and wider. Finally, she looked at Wei Kei in shock. "Really? You can't joke about such things." Wei Kei nodded. "It's absolutely true." Mrs. Chu seemed to have suffered a violent shock. She clutched her chest as if she might faint at any moment. Wei Kei quickly supported her. "Mom." Mrs. Chu was a bit unsteady. She pointed toward the door with a trembling finger, the anger on her face almost uncontrollable. Go and call that brat back here for me." Wei Kei helped her stand steady, gave an affirmative response, and ran out. 2 hours later, Chu Shuye returned in casual clothes to find his mother's face looking grim. He hesitated for a moment but still walked over. "Mom, you were looking for me." Mrs. Chu looked at him coldly. "Kneel down." Chu Shuye was stunned. Although he was confused, seeing his mother's face full of fury, he still knelt down as told. "Mom, what exactly happened?" Mrs. Chu snorted coldly. "You are asking me what happened after what you've done. What did I do? Are you still going to play dumb with me? How long did you plan to keep the matter between you and that Yunan from us?" Chu Shuye's expression changed. "You know." Hearing those words, Mrs. Chu's heart, which had been hanging by a thread, finally died. She closed her eyes in disappointment and leaned back on the sofa, not wanting to say another word. Chu Jinan was also called downstairs. Everyone else had been sent away from the living room. Now there was only the grief-stricken Mrs. Chu and Chu Shuye, who was kneeling on the floor with a grim expression. Chu Jinan paused for a moment and then walked toward them. "Mom, you called for me." Mrs. Chu gave him a pitying look and gestured for him to sit down. After he sat down, Mrs. Chu finally spoke. "I know everything now. Now you two tell me, what should be done?" Chu Jinan looked at his mother, then at Chu Shuye on the floor. "What matter? What else could it be? It's about your fiancé, of course. This brat has already admitted it." She pointed at Chu Shuye, her face full of disappointment. Just now, this boy had confessed everything. It was he who took the initiative to seduce. "No," he said, "force. He forced Shen Yunan. So it's about that matter." Chu Jinan didn't have much of a reaction. Mrs. Chu didn't take his reaction to heart either. After all, he had been like this since he was a child. Even if he was sad or upset, he wouldn't show it. "Sioha, what do you say?" "Naturally, I wish them the best." Chu Shuye looked at him, and Mrs. Chu looked at him as well. The confusion on their faces was identical. Mrs. Chu reminded him, "That is your fiancé." Chu Jinan, feelings cannot be forced. Since they are mutually in love, why not let them be together? Then what about you? Don't worry about me. Mrs. Chu felt another pang of heartache. This child was so sensible it was painful to see. He just gave up his fiancé like that. She then had a headache over another matter. The problem is, what about the Shen family's side? She didn't dare let Chu Minggu know about this yet, or he would surely break one of the boy's legs. Chu Jinan said, since they are mutually in love, Miss Shen will likely go back and explain things clearly. Besides, it was only a verbal agreement, not a formal engagement. Changing the person won't cause much harm. That was true. Fortunately, they hadn't officially gotten engaged yet, so not many people knew. Changing the person wouldn't have a huge impact. Mrs. Chu pondered for a moment, then looked coldly at Chu Shuye. Brat, have Yunan come over tomorrow. I want to talk to her. Chu Shuye looked wary. Mom, what are you going to say to her? Seeing her son's pathetic state, Mrs. Chu was filled with anger. Naturally, I'm going to talk about the two of you. Do you intend to keep sneaking around like this forever? Chu Shuye didn't speak, looking quite reluctant. What's wrong? You really want to keep sneaking around? No, he hesitated to speak. Don't be so hesitant. If you have something to say, just say it. Mom, it's better if I go and talk to her myself. Mrs. Chu was so angry she laughed. What, are you afraid I'll say something unpleasant to her? No. Not many people knew, so changing the person wouldn't have a huge impact. Then you. Chu Shuye interrupted her. Mom, this matter started because of me, so I should be the one to resolve it. In short, I will give you all an explanation. The two of them stared at each other for a moment. Mrs. Chu sighed and said wearily, you really are a handful. Chapter 158, Is this where your confidence comes from? Mrs. Chu gave him a week to handle it. If he couldn't, she would have to step in personally. After Mrs. Chu returned to her room, Chu Shuye stood up from the floor and looked at Chu Jinan. You told her. Chu Jinan gave an irrelevant answer. I'm more interested in knowing what your plan is. Or do you really intend to keep things under wraps forever, just as Mom said? Of course not, Chu Shuye said decisively, but his expression softened immediately after. He sat down on the sofa and looked at Chu Jinan. Can't you really give it up? Chu Shuye was naturally referring to the shares, but compared to last time, there was a hint of pleading on his face now. I've said it before, if you want it, earn it with your own ability. Giving things away is useless, you must have the skill to keep them. Chu Jinan's gaze lingered on his face for a moment, appearing somewhat disappointed. I don't see the courage and clarity a leader should have in you. Chu Shuye, what do you think would happen if Yanjin were handed over to someone who places personal feelings above the interests of the group? Chu Shuye's expression was complex. It was true, from the beginning, he had never intended to manage any company. Growing up, he never had to worry about anything. Even if he did nothing, he would be well provided for his entire life. Until that day, when the woman he had crushed on for years said that the man she wanted to marry was the future head of the Chu family. Chu Shuye, who had wasted years of his life, felt as if he had been reborn, filled with longing and expectations for the future. Unfortunately, it was too late. His elder brother had been running the company for years. How could he possibly surpass his brother's deep-rooted influence in just 6 months? He still tried to argue, brother, I love her. How does that conflict with running the company? Then tell me, for the I2 project, when there were clearly more reliable partners, why did you insist on choosing that new company controlled by the Shen family despite all opposition? Did you even look at the risk assessment report? And those old geezers you contacted privately, what did you promise them to get their support? How can I possibly hand it over to you when you agree to such ridiculous proposals? Chu Shuye looked at him in shock. How do you know? The disappointment in Chu Jinan's eyes deepened. It's your business that she chose you, but if you make any decisions that harm Yanjin's interests because of her, when the time comes, you'll fall even without me pushing, and it will be a very ugly fall. Chu Shuye said, you've been missing for over half a year. How much do you know about the group's current business and project progress? For these 6 months, it was me and others who kept the group running. Now that you're back, you want to take everything back based on past merits and status. I'm afraid others won't be convinced either. Chu Jinan stared at him. Though they were at eye level, his gaze possessed a condescending aura. So, is this where your confidence comes from? Chu Shuye didn't speak, but his stubborn gaze said it all. Chu Jinan stood up, shoved his hands into his pockets, and looked down at his younger brother with a near disdainful posture. If Yanjin really collapsed just because I left, it would only prove that no one but me can hold this position. Conversely, if the company could still basically function during my absence, then is there any necessary connection between my few months of absence and the decision of who should be at the helm? Leaving those words behind, he ignored Chu Shuye's expression and turned to walk out the door. Song Yunfei looked at the few packages in front of her and nodded in satisfaction. Everything that needed to be packed was done. Looking around, she felt good. All the things she needed to take were properly packed. The computer was too big to take, so it had to stay behind. Then she took out her phone to place a courier order and waited for the courier to come and pick up the items. She sent the items ahead. She had contacted a guest house, booked a room for half a month, and informed the owner, who agreed to collect the packages for her once they arrived. This way, she avoided carrying large bags downstairs herself, which might have been seen by Wu Wei and aroused suspicion. Before long, the courier came upstairs and took her things away. As for the two people Chu Jinan had sent, they had already arrived but were staked out downstairs. Seeing the courier bring down so many things, they didn't know whose they were and didn't pay much attention. Song Yunfei sat in the empty room, looking at the place where they had once lived, her heart filled with mixed emotions. It was impossible to say she didn't feel any attachment at all. But compared to her life, no matter how reluctant she was, it all became insignificant. She watched as the sky gradually grew darker. Song Yunfei went downstairs and rode her electric scooter around for a scout, but she didn't see Wu Wei. For safety's sake, she found a restaurant and ordered herself a table of delicious food. After eating and drinking her fill, she visited a supermarket and then took a stroll through the night market. The night market was crowded and had many vehicles, but it still didn't feel safe. She parked her electric scooter at the entrance, then slipped into a taxi from another exit and took it back to the residential area. Who would have thought that while she was out at the night market, she would end up taking a taxi back? Song Yunfei gave herself a thumbs up for her cleverness. After reaching the neighborhood, she immediately drove off in her Volkswagen. Why not take a plane or high-speed train? Because her ticket records could be traced, driving was the safest option. However, no matter how clever she was no match for professional tracker. Just as her car pulled out, another vehicle slowly followed behind. For the first time since his disappearance over 6 months ago, Chu Jinan came to the company for a meeting. The meeting had been going on for a while, from after 6 p.m. until now at 9:30 p.m., the reports from various departments were only halfway through. Just then, his phone rang. He picked it up casually, and his expressionless face instantly turned as dark as ink. The manager who was speaking caught a glimpse of his expression and cautiously glanced at his own laptop, thinking he had misread the report. Seeing this, Wei Kei, who was beside him, also became nervous. He stared at the fountain pen in President Chu's hand and could clearly hear his knuckles cracking. If the pen hadn't been of such high quality, it probably would have been snapped in two. President Chu, is there a problem? The manager asked humbly. Chu Jinan snapped back to reality, his expression returning to normal. It's nothing, continue. The manager breathed a sigh of relief and continued his report. Chu Jinan lowered his head and replied to a message. 20 minutes later, the manager finally finished. Chu Jinan suddenly stood up and said to Wei Kei, organize the rest and send it to my email. Let's adjourn for today. After speaking, he ignored everyone and strode out of the meeting room. His pace was hurried, walking with a gust of wind. As he passed one of the executives, the person caught a faint scent of lavender. Anyone familiar with that scent knew it was the smell of laundry detergent sold for 19.9 a bottle in supermarkets. Such a common scent, smelling it on President Chu made him feel much more approachable. Indeed, the economic climate must be poor, even the president has become so frugal. As soon as Chu Jinan left the meeting room, he took out his phone and made a call. Chapter 159, Equality Between Man and Dog. Hello, the number you have dialed cannot be reached at the moment. Please try again later. Chu Jinan's footsteps faltered. He hung up the call, opened WeChat, and dialed a video chat. There was still no answer. His face now looked even grimmer than before. Wei Ke didn't dare to provoke him in this foul mood. Once out of the meeting room, he hurried off in another direction. After standing in place for a long while, Chu Jinan finally picked up his phone again and made another call. Follow her, see where she goes. Song Yunfei had changed her phone and number. Having been traumatized by her address being found last time, she didn't even dare to bring her old phone. She glanced at the navigation. It was so far away, driving non-stop would take 2 days and 2 nights. But obviously, that wasn't possible. By her estimate, it would take about 4 or 5 days. Anyway, she had no urgent matters. She'd just take it slow and drive leisurely. Bai Yu discovered she was missing on the 3rd day because the red envelopes hadn't been cleaned for 3 days, which was unlike Song Yunfei's usual behavior. Previously, every night before bed, she would clear out the red envelopes. If she forgot, she would claim them first thing after waking up. Bai Yu was puzzled. Had she already gone to work the sewing machine? That shouldn't be. He hadn't heard a single rumor about it. What he had heard was that Chu Jinan had returned to Sea City a few days ago. He had been just about to warn Song Yunfei, but now she was unreachable. That afternoon, Bai Yu swapped shifts with someone and drove to the neighborhood where Song Yunfei lived. He knocked on the door for a long time with no response. He then went to ask at her workplace and found out she had resigned about 20 days ago. Well, Yang Kawa, you actually ran off on your own. Although Bai Yu was smiling, it was a gritted teeth smile. No wonder she had asked him last time how he found her address. Coupled with the several times she reminded him to prepare, it wasn't hard to deduce that this woman had never intended to take him along. If Bai Yu and Chu Jinan were placed side by side at this moment, their expressions would probably be quite similar. Bai Yu drove aimlessly around, his mind preoccupied with how to find that little liar. It was one thing to deceive Chu Jinan, but to deceive him too. Suddenly, he saw someone ahead waving at him. Bai Yu's heart stirred slightly when he saw the dog by her feet. He slowed down and pulled over to the curb. Xiao Jian was bundled up like a zongzi, wearing both a hat and a mask, making her hard to recognize if one didn't look carefully. Once the car stopped, Xiao Jian, without a word, picked up her suitcase, walked to the back of the sports car, and put her luggage in. She then opened the rear door and put the dog inside. Unexpectedly, as soon as the dog saw the person driving, it immediately bared its teeth, arched its back, and let out a low growl, poised and ready to pounce. Bai Yu said, "You hold it. If it charges and bites me later, I'll stew it for soup." Xiao Jian glanced back at him, then at the snarling Quan Quan. "You really are no good. Even the dog dislikes you." Despite her words, she still got in the car and firmly held Quan Quan in her arms. Xiao Jian said, "Take me to the airport." Bai Yu glanced up at the rearview mirror and chuckled. "Sure thing, chauffeur service, $10 for the person, 5 million for the dog." Hearing this, Xiao Jian glared at him angrily. "Why am I only worth $10? After saying it, she felt something wasn't quite right. Just as she was about to correct herself, Bai Yu had already spoken. "Alright, you're 5 million too. Equality between man and dog. Satisfied?" "You." Bai Yu interrupted her retort. "Why is this dog with you?" Xiao Jian snorted, turned her head away, and ignored his question. Bai Yu sighed. "If you won't say, then get out of the car." Xiao Jian hesitated. On such a cold day, she didn't want to hail another cab. "Take me to the airport and I'll tell you." Bai Yu reluctantly drove off. After about 10 minutes of driving, Bai Yu spoke again. "Can you tell me now?" Xiao Jian checked the time. They were almost there, so she told him. After hearing it, the corner of Bai Yu's mouth twitched. "You believe that?" Xiao Jian, why shouldn't I believe it? She sounded so sincere. I think it's true. You think everyone is like you, full of bad intentions. This time, Bai Yu was genuinely caught between laughter and tears by her. He hesitated several times, wanting to say something, but finally just smiled and uttered two words, "All right then." While driving, they suddenly saw several people gathered on the bridge ahead. Someone recklessly dashed across the road, forcing Bai Yu to slow down. He rolled down the window, about to ask what was happening, when through a gap in the crowd, he saw a little girl struggling in the water below. He slammed on the brakes, causing Xiao Jian in the back to nearly hit the seat. She was just about to angrily scold him when she saw the guy had already opened the door and gotten out. He ran to the railing, looked down, his face paler than she had ever seen. The surroundings were chaotic. Some were on the phone, some were exclaiming in shock, others were discussing how to rescue her. Xiao Jian also got out of the car and ran to Bai Yu's side, seeing the scene below. "Oh my God, there's a..." Before she could finish her sentence, she saw Bai Yu beside her take off his jacket and, with a swish, jump down. Xiao Jian's eyes widened. In the instant he leaped, her impression of Bai Yu shifted. But that shift only lasted a few seconds. She saw Bai Yu jump in and swim, flail a couple of times towards the little girl, and then sink. He sank faster than the little girl. "Someone go down and save them," Xiao Jian exclaimed in alarm, looking anxiously at the people around, but everyone was just standing by, panicking. No one jumped in. She gritted her teeth, took off her own jacket, and ran towards the lower part of the bridge. Jumping from this height wouldn't be rescuing someone, it would be suicide. "What's the point of showing off if you can't even swim?" she complained under her breath. She ran to a slightly lower spot, climbed over the railing, and jumped in. A few minutes later, several other people also jumped in and managed to pull both the little girl and Bai Yu ashore. Xiao Jian and Bai Yu sat on the riverbank, wrapped in jackets, shivering violently, steam rising from their bodies. Shivering, her teeth chattering from the cold, she glared fiercely at Bai Yu. "Ah, are you all out of your mind?" Bai Yu just hung his head, silent, his hands gripping his jacket tightly, his expression pained and conflicted. Xiao Jian sensed something was wrong. He was trembling too violently, his pale face etched with panic and lingering fear. Water kept dripping from his chin. For a moment, Xiao Jian thought he was crying. She recalled the gossip she had heard before and looked at the disheveled man before her. She seemed to understand something. Understood why he had jumped in without a second thought. Understood why he had sunk so decisively. She pulled her jacket tighter around herself, shifted closer to Bai Yu, blocking the biting cold wind blowing from the river. Bai Yu still stared fixedly at the ground, his body trembling uncontrollably. Deep within his bloodshot eyes, a tempest raged. It was also a winter day like this. Also icy lake water. Also a gradually sinking, younger sister. The long festered scar in the depths of his heart was suddenly torn open. Those images buried deep in his memory surged over him like a tidal wave, trapping him in that endless nightmare. Chapter 160. Which of your words was ever true? On the sixth day, Song Yunfei finally arrived at her destination at a leisurely pace. She was a day later than planned, mainly because she passed by a service area that was decorated so beautifully and had so many food options that she couldn't resist spending the entire morning there. Parking the car outside the guest house, she got out. The sunlight was pleasant, the temperature just right. Small flowers bloomed by the roadside, and the air was filled with their fragrance. It was truly a great place for a winter getaway. Carrying her bag, she walked towards the guest house. This season still attracted many tourists, but this particular guest house seemed rather empty. After entering, she looked around the living room for the owner. Turning her head, she saw a man in a suit sitting in the lounge area to the right. Song Yunfei froze on the spot, feeling as if she had plunged into an icy abyss. He lounged casually in a rattan armchair, long legs crossed, one hand resting idly on the armrest while the other toyed with an orange. He seemed oblivious to someone entering, simply gazing at the floor-to-ceiling window in the distance. The sunlight from behind streamed through the glass, outlining him with a glaring halo. At this moment, the man resembled a seasoned hunter, waiting for his prey to walk right into the trap. Song Yunfei blinked. It wasn't an illusion. He was still there. She rubbed her eyes hard and looked again. He was still there. Holding her breath, Song Yunfei stared at the man's tense lips, slowly and subtly retreating step by step. It's all an illusion, she thought. Let me walk in again. Song Yunfei. The unhurried voice carried the crushing weight of a mountain, an overwhelming pressure bearing down on her. Her retreating steps halted. She stared at the man in horror. With this aura, this tone, this posture, if she still couldn't tell he had regained his memory, she might as well find a block of tofu to crash into. Chu Jinan turned his head. The sunlight from outside swept across his face, half of it sinking into shadow, half exposed to Song Yunfei's view. Song Yunfei tightened her grip on her bag, forcing a smile onto her face. What are you doing here? What do you think? You're here for a trip, right? Song Yunfei laughed awkwardly. What a coincidence. I'm here for a trip too. I heard the scenery is beautiful, so I came. Such a hidden gem, haha. Watching the man's icy expression, Song Yunfei's smile grew increasingly bitter and strained, eventually fading into pure awkwardness. For a moment, it was hard to tell if she was laughing or crying. Chu Jinan shifted his gaze from her face to another corner of the room. Following his look, Song Yunfei saw several boxes there. The packages she had mailed out. On a trip, and you shipped all your belongings here. Song Yunfei closed her eyes. Her heart finally gave up hope. Taking a deep breath and opening her eyes, she continued to struggle. Well, it's warm here. I was planning to stay until after the new year. Chu Jinan stood up and began walking slowly towards her. Song Yunfei pinched her thigh, desperately fighting the urge to turn and run. She knew she couldn't escape. If she ran, her punishment would only be worse. He stopped right in front of her, looking down at her. Take me to see your room. Song Yunfei tried her best to maintain her smile. Okay. Her eyes scanned the room and spotted the owner in the inner area. Song Yunfei walked over to the owner, completed the check-in formalities, and received the room key. Taking the key, she lowered her voice. Boss, could you bring me a bottle of wine in 2 hours? Any kind is fine. The owner, without looking up and typing on the computer, replied, Sure. Song Yunfei felt a slight relief, her mind already racing with thoughts of how she might die later. Would he strangle her directly, or hack her to pieces? She hoped the owner would come to her rescue in time. Clutching the key card, Song Yunfei shuffled towards the stairs. Chu Jinan followed unhurriedly behind her. The sound of his leather shoes on the wooden stairs was terrifying. Bracing herself, Song Yunfei reached the 2nd floor and stopped at the door at the end of the corridor. She took out the key card, opened the door, and walked in. The sound of the door closing behind her made her shudder. After a few steps, Song Yunfei stopped, unable to bear the oppressive atmosphere any longer. Since she was doomed either way, she mustered her courage and suddenly turned around. Looking at the man's expressionless face, she asked him, You remember? He continued to watch her quietly, his gaze sweeping over her pale lips as if scrutinizing her, or perhaps enjoying her distress. Song Yunfei clenched her sleeves, her palms damp with cold sweat, her heart pounding faster than ever. Do you hope I remember? He took a step closer to Song Yunfei, or are you afraid I remember? As he approached, Song Yunfei instinctively stepped back. Chu Jinan didn't advance further, his eyes growing even darker. Song Yunfei lowered her head, unable to meet his all-seeing gaze. She wanted him to remember, yet she was also terrified that he did. At this moment, she felt like a thief caught red-handed, with the evidence laid bare, leaving no room for denial. All her lies were exposed, her glamorous mask torn away, revealing her shameful and ugly true self under the glaring sunlight for everyone to see. Chu Jinan stepped forward again. Song Yunfei retreated, but he grabbed her wrist and pulled her back slamming hard against the wall. Song Yunfei, you liar. You've been deceiving me from start to finish. Tell me, which of your words was ever true? His voice could barely maintain its calm, seeming to be forced through gritted teeth. His rapid breaths brushed against Song Yunfei's face. Song Yunfei was terrified. What are you going to do? His dark eyes locked onto her as he spoke, word by word, I want to break your legs. Song Yunfei was stunned. Then lock you up in a cage. Song Yunfei was horrified. Images of various bloody scenes flashed through her mind, a chill spreading from her limbs to her entire body. Wasn't it supposed to be working on a sewing machine? How did it come to this? No prison sentence, but having her legs broken instead. The plot had taken a turn, and for the worse. She trembled with fear. That's against the law. Against the law, you, an outlaw, have no right to say that. Song Yunfei bit her lip, tears of fright spilling uncontrollably. Scared now, his voice was hoarse, carrying a weary chill. When you were lying to me, when you were running away, why didn't you think about the consequences? I'm sorry, she sobbed, her words jumbled. I shouldn't have lied, shouldn't have run. Please, don't do that. I can turn myself in. As soon as these words left her mouth, the man's breathing grew even heavier. He struggled to speak. You turn yourself in, you've already. He suddenly clutched his chest, looking as if he was infuriated beyond words, left with only ragged, chaotic gasps. Song Yunfei grew even more afraid. She hadn't expected him to be this angry. She had tried to imagine how furious he would be upon learning the truth, but she had still underestimated it. The feelings of the past were, in the end, nothing but a fleeting dream.